Hi Virgo, welcome to your week ahead horoscope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, my readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant signs. So whether you're a sun, moon or rising sign Virgo, this is for you. And I always advise that you watch all three to get a clearer, more complete picture of how they're going to speak to you. With that said, remember they are general readings. So remember, not everything's going to resonate with everybody, and that's just fine. You should always use your own discernment. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my deck of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So for your key to the week this week, you have the World card, right? So something about your community, your communities, community, or the people that you are tied to in your locality could be coming up for you this week. With this energy, one of the things that I will say to you is the World card sees us being ready to take the next step, right? To go onto a new plateau, a new level of something. So wherever it is that you're going this week or whatever you've got your sights on, you're already going to be welcoming this in or ushering this in this week. So there's something this week where you're feeling it actually happen, right? So if you feel like this week you're not hyper vigilant, like, I don't know, it's really weird. I don't know how to explain it. I mean, obviously, you know, this is birthday season for you, so the sun is pouring his light, heat and energy and vibrancy into you, which is great because it's illuminating you and rejuvenating you from within. But it's more than that. There's like the feeling that I get right now, it's like I'm seeing you, whoever you Virgo person may be, and I'm seeing you like feeling like you're, you know, like when you see people grow actual roots into the ground in like superhero stuff and all of that kind of thing. It's like you're super jacked in this week. It's like you can read not only, you know, the room, but the atmosphere. Like, you know what's going on. You've got your finger on the pulse this week. You might be feeling the geological stuff really powerfully this week, especially what's happening in your own sort of environment, like your own usual ecosystem, let's say. So your foundation card is the Nine of Wands, and this comes up with the World card. So the first thing that I want to say, there could be a local big event that causes some form of casualties, and it might not necessarily just be one, it might be several of them within your community. I truly hope that I'm wrong on this, but it is the Nine of Wands, so I have to say what I see. Now, the reason I'm talking so much about your environment is because you've got the World card. Yes, it can be personal, but it's rare. Usually it is like the bigger stuff that we're tied to. So very interesting. On a more microcosmic level, on a more personal level, something about the way that you are doing things now, it's like, you know, this is going to have to change really soon. And maybe that's frightening or upsetting because it's like, well, shit, I've just got to this point and now I've got to change all over again. Yeah, unfortunately, right? And you've got that new moon that's happening in your sign, your sun, moon or ascendant sign is going to be really powerful for you because it's trining Uranus, which is, it's going to bring something, it's going to bring something new and it's going to be something truly wonderful. But at first, when it hits, you might not know what to do with it, right? You're just going to be like, okay, great. You know, I'll give you an example. Like, in my head, I just saw like a little cartoon thing. It's like, you're out in the wilderness and you're like, I'm hungry, universe help me, and a cow falls out the sky and you're like, okay. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, yay, we've got food, but I've got to build a fire, I've got to, do you know what I mean? Like, it could be like that. So just be aware. If you are celebrating your solar return or your birthday this week, a truly happy birthday to you. I hope you have an amazing day. Remember to fill your solar return, the day of your birthday, with a little bit of everything you want this next 12 months to have in it for you. All right, so for your actions and options this week, you've got the Temperance card. With the World card, you could be playing a supporting role in your community this week. It's really weird, right? So one way that this could show up You know, like, I'll give you an example. When we had the riots here in the UK, we had the riots in Tottenham, and so many people's businesses and livelihoods and stuff were destroyed. It was really, really sad and very awful. And when that happened, after it had all finished, it was the community that came together to pull itself back together and rebuild in some really, truly spectacular and really heartwarming ways that actually instilled more faith in human beings. This week, whatever it is that happens in your environment, you may end up either volunteering for, you might end up helping with, maybe you provide a safe space for someone or something, maybe like an animal or a family that you know, or like in some way you're doing something very beautiful and very selfless this week, but it's likely to have a lot of impact in your immediate surroundings or environment or your personal world in some way. The fact that you have that temperance card in a lot of ways means that there are things at the moment you're really trying to balance out. And maybe you don't know if you're getting it right at the moment. It's like, okay, I know I'm doing all of this stuff, but is it having an effect? Am I actually making any impact? Is this actually helping people? Or, you know, am I being of service the way that I want to be or need to be? There's a lot of question marks about these things. Just show up as you are. That's enough. For your communications and conversations, you've got the Death card right underneath the World card. I really hope that I'm wrong on this front, right? I've had this conversation with many of the people that are my clients, who totally get me, and I've had this conversation and this narrative online a lot. I never relish predicting difficult things. And when people message me to say like, you were bang on about this and stuff, I can't be happy about that because I've predicted something that wasn't nice for anybody to experience. However, I realise that in this grand tapestry, I am but a vessel and a tool for the messages that people need to hear. And unfortunately, and I've learnt my lesson on this one several times over, I can assure you, where I have to say what I see. And with this combination of cards and the way that they're coming up, it could be something in your community that happens, you know, and it feels like it will be a natural disaster of some sort. I don't get the feeling that it will be something, you know, technological or whatever, but I just feel like all of you are going to be, you know, not just you, but like everyone in your community is going to be like, how do we pull together? How do we make this better for all of us? How do we do what we can, right? And I think that's as much as I can or will say. Now, for those of you that work for somebody else, the Death card with the World card, I mean, this could be a job that comes to an end. Maybe you're deciding to end it, or maybe your employment is being terminated because the company can no longer afford to keep everybody. That's one way this could play out. Maybe you found another job that you feel is better suited to you. For those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, maybe a direction that you thought your business was going in, this week you realize actually that's not where I want to go, or it's not a viable option. There's something here where you're having to change path, you're having to change track. What was going one way is now going a different way because it no longer works. And then when it comes to those of you that are retired, this could be you being called back into service in some way. As an example, for those of you that are healthcare professionals or have worked in those kinds of arenas, this week you could be called back to service when, you know, maybe the local authority says, look, if you are a doctor or a nurse or you've got any sort of skill in these areas, we need you. You know, around birthday season, it's not pleasant, sorry to say, but okay. So for your love and relations, you've got the Queen of Pentacles. You show up powerfully and deeply as yourself this week. For me personally, The Queen of Pentacles is ruled by Virgo, and so whether you're a male Virgo, whether you're a woman Virgo, whether you're non-binary Virgo watching this, this suggests to me that you yourself show up in relationships in a really powerful way. Your partner, you know, your other significant other, etc., is going to see you and just be like, you know what, I knew there was a reason I chose you as my person. And that's really, really beautiful. For those of you that are single, I mean, with a week like this, it's probably not, right? But that being said, you may meet somebody in a very unconventional setting or environment, and that's something you know, to be aware of. And then finally, for your money and materials, you've got the Justice card. This is right underneath the Death card in the communications, and so this looks like a contract to me. Something that you were either planning to do work, so maybe someone that you were planning to work with and or alongside is not going ahead the way that you thought it would, or the contract is having to be rewritten in some way. Something's having to be redone, to be re-looked at, to be, and we're not even in, I mean, at this point, Mercury shadow will begin on the 6th, so right at the beginning of the week. But we're not in the retrograde yet, right? So to suddenly see this coming up already in such a powerful way is really, really interesting. And it looks like you're having to spend money on something of a legal nature this week. Very possible. Or some personal tie, interpersonal tie, will see you having to front cash for something. Now, when it comes to your physical health and vitality, this card is usually your kidneys and a part of your liver. Can also be your urinary system, especially because right above it you've got the Death card. So look after your waterworks this week. I'm not a doctor or a medical professional. I can't give you that advice, but this would be a good week to check in with one around those areas. And then when it comes to your home and environment, I just get the feeling that this week it's interrupted by the outside world. So there's someone or something that you're having to bring into the home this week that maybe wasn't planned for. But I don't think it's necessarily bad. You know, it's just disruptive. So I'm really kind of intrigued by this whole thing, because I'm like, okay, this is a very, very interesting reading. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have as best a week as you possibly can. Be conscious, be aware, and also in all of this, also try to find time to look after yourself. Take care, and I'll see you soon.